Hello, everybody. The DUI guy is back. Please let me know how the sound is. Sorry about that. I had another window open with my video on it. So it's good to be back. I don't think I've streamed in a while. Let me know how the quality is. I have a direct connection now, so that should help out a little bit on the streaming side. So it shouldn't be grainy or anything like that. Let me see if I can adjust maybe the camera a little bit so that it points to me. Sorry, I haven't done this in a while, so we may need to do a little bit of tweaking. There we go. Yeah, I was streaming a lot last winter, and then I think I had a couple in the summer, but that fell apart very quickly because unfortunately we were unable to get a connection going. But finally we fixed those issues, and now I have more time to be able to do this. So yeah, I'm just waiting for people to pour in here as I'm filling you all in. A couple other things that have happened since the summer, I guess. We hit 10,000 subscribers. We're actually almost at 13,000 now. Tie is a bit crooked. Oh, sorry. Well, too bad. Can never be perfect. We hit 10,000. Woohoo! Now we're almost at 13. I think I'm like 12,900 or something. So thank you. Hey, Aaron, you're actually tuned in. Look at you, man. Aaron was my law clerk up until Wednesday. He has since moved on to do better and greater things when, number one, he can make more money, have better learning experience, and I think is closer to home. So I'm sure you're gonna do great, buddy. I am looking to see great things from you in the future. Let me know how it goes in circuit court. So yeah, 10,000 subs and 3 million views. We hit that just a couple months ago, I think. So incredible. I never saw that this channel would get so popular so quickly. I thought I would be small potatoes, and I'm still small potatoes. I don't have like all that much at the end of the day, but it's amazing, and I'm glad that you guys like the content. I'm just gonna keep pumping it out until somebody tells me to stop. I haven't had that many trials. I've had a couple in the summer, and then now I had another one. So that one will be uploading. I know I told you guys, I'm so sorry. I was going to upload it last week or 2 weeks ago. I was just waiting on the tape. I couldn't get the court to turn over the tape from the court proceeding, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if I'm not faulting them, honestly. It probably took them some time because of whatever. But we finally got it. We got it on Friday, yesterday. We finally got it. And I have one of my people on it, so they're going to be editing it. And again, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We got the live chat going. I got my moderator if anything happens, and I'm going to be monitoring it as much as I can myself. One other update, two updates actually. One is we hit over 100 videos. I have, I think, 101 videos on my channel, which again is incredible. We're just going to keep pumping out content as it comes. So, Michael is saying buffering. Am I buffering to anybody else? Is my video quality okay? Okay, good. Where was I? Lost my place. 100 plus videos. Yes. So we're over 100 videos, and we're going to keep pumping out content. Again, it's all a matter of how much hearings and whatnot we get. I mean, as we win more and more cases, prosecutors become more and more hesitant to try cases, especially when they're borderline cases. So as much as I would like to try every case that I want to try, then I will get that content added. And sometimes we have great hearings, but I can't upload them because the case is still pending. So Michael, I was thinking about that, bringing my own video equipment to the court to be able to record that myself. I'm sure that would be quite a feat. I'm sure a judge might object. I don't know. It's possible. Who knows? None of my business. At this point, I'm just going to rely on the court's recording system, which is more than most states can offer. I know some states don't even have video equipment in their courtrooms. So the trial video will be uploaded probably within the next few days, maybe a week. And also, I know you can't see it, but it's actually right here, right over here. The Blue Yeti microphone that my buddy from college actually had the spare one that he told me that I could borrow. And it's pretty far away from me. I mean, this is like a good distance. It's actually right there. You can't see it. It's right where my finger is. So I was thinking, I don't know if any of you guys like ASMR videos, the autonomous sensory motor response. There's tons of them on YouTube. I'm a huge fan. So who knows? Maybe we can do some DUI guy ASMR. Like, remember when the prosecutor tossed his pen at the end of the trial? Yeah, we can be talking about like the law, or I could just ramble on about whatever cases are going on or whatever. I think, I don't know. DUI guy ASMR, maybe in the future. I don't know. As soon as I got the mic, I was like, wait a second. A lot of those ASMR artists have that same microphone. Anyway, so let's get down to it. All right. We have a lot to cover and I want to get into it. I'm going to try and get to questions. If you do have a question, be sure to tag my name in it, the DUI guy, so it comes up, because otherwise, more than likely, I will miss it. So I will try and get to them at the end of the stream when we get to questions and answers. Or if we don't get to that, then maybe I'll be able to like cut through in the middle of the text if I have a moment to spare to touch upon that or whatever as the questions come in. So let's get started. Today we're talking about non-motor vehicle DUIs, naturally, as I already said. And what's interesting is that the definition, I'm talking specifically about Kentucky here first. The definition, because that's where I practice, the definition of motor vehicle, ironically, is not found, or non-motor vehicle, is not found in the chapter that talks about DUIs, which is KRS 189A. We actually have to go to a case called Adams v. Commonwealth, which is 275 Southwest 3rd, 209, excuse me, which is a 2008 case, where the Kentucky Court of Appeals stated that the definition in Chapter 186, the definition of a motor vehicle, does not apply to Chapter 189A, which is the DUI section. And since there is no specific, the court goes on, statutory definition of motor vehicle in that chapter, the court must construe that term in accordance with its common and approved usage, which to me seems like complete nonsense. When I read that for the first time, I thought, we have a chapter that talks about what motor vehicle is, what non-motor vehicle is, and that's in Chapter 186. 186 and 189 talk about offenses like speeding, improper turn, improper passing, seatbelt violations, license violations, insurance violations, and so on. So naturally, that chapter would define it. And you would think that somebody would be smart enough in the legislative process to copy and paste that into 189A, which is the DUI statute. Well, they never did. So the court's like, well, courts are basically free to define what it is. Now, there is a definition in 189, which is later modified by a court case in 1988, which we'll get to in a second, that said, specifically defining vehicle and non-motor vehicle, it stated that a vehicle is all agencies for the transportation of persons or property over or upon the public highways of the Commonwealth. and all vehicles passing over upon the highways. Very, 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 very broad in general, as you can obviously tell. So it's very vague, but it does have an exception section, ironically. It excludes, and get this, this is bizarre. Now, it's not often I'm going to get a case from these, but it's fascinating. Road rollers. So you've seen those rollers that straighten pavements. Those are excluded, I guess. I mean, that's I'm reading it in its plain language. Road graders, kind of the same thing. Farm tractors. Now, before you jump the gun, this is where the exception to the exception to the exception arises. This is Heath v. Commonwealth, 761 Southwest 2nd, 630, 1988. Basically stated that, you know what, the definitions out of Chapter 189, as applied to tractors, is not okay. Whoever wrote that, again, pointing to the legislatures, and yes, the Liberty Cause, I was getting to your question, it is legislating from the bench because courts, as you all know, we have our three branches, right? From civics class, you got your judicial branch, executive branch, that's the president, and then you have the legislative, that's our House and Senate. They all keep checks on each other. So if the legislature passed something unconstitutional, then the legislative branch or the executive branch can pass a direct executive order, or the judges can modify. You know, we won't get into that. That's basic civics. You're more than welcome to Google it if you have questions about that. But in a nutshell, the court decided that no, and they said it would seem to be a gross distortion, which I completely agree with, a gross distortion of the intent of the referred statutes to hold otherwise, meaning tractors to be excluded from the definition of motor vehicle. Because it doesn't make any sense to me either. I don't know what the legislatures were thinking. Maybe they were protecting farmers. Maybe there was a big farm lobby that year. I don't know. I haven't really done my research on that. I'm sure if you all are interested, you could find something. And if you do, send it to me. I'll be happy to read it and look it over. Another very fascinating one, number 4 in the exceptions, vehicles on which power shovels are mounted. Now, what is the definition of a power shovel? I mean, if it has a hydraulic mechanism, pretty much every other truck in Canada, for instance, you know, if you were to bring them into Kentucky, we have a few of those in the winter, but not so much this year since we haven't had much snow. The shovel that shovels snow, I mean, it's in a hydraulic, it moves up and down. So vehicles in which power shovels are mounted, so all you got to do is put a shovel on your Ford F-150, and it just went from being a motor vehicle to a non-motor vehicle. I don't understand personally. Again, I never had a case that challenges it, but I would find it fascinating to be able to argue, because I think you can argue with a straight face, Your Honor. My client's Ford F-350 had a power shovel mounted, and that is specifically excluded from the definition of motor vehicle under KRS 199010 subsection 19. I would ask that the court amend my client's motor vehicle DUI to a non-motor vehicle DUI. Seems insane, but by law, I literally just read exactly what the law states. So who knows? Maybe I'll get a case one day like that. Number 5, construction equipment customarily used only on the site of construction, in which is not practical for the transportation of persons or property upon the highways. Again, if you notice, there's a lot, at least 1, 2, 3, technically almost 4, all 5 so far referred to like it's a protection for the construction people. So I guess if they come to work under the influence, again, it all sounds like this is meant for not vehicles that are traveling upon the highway, because again, that's kind of section number 2, all vehicles passing over upon the highways. This is more of they're doing something on the side, and I guess if they're under the influence, they're trying to protect them. I don't understand why or how, but again, it's in the books. It's in the books. Vehicles that travel exclusively upon rail is number 6. Kind of makes sense why they would include that in there. Again, seems very dangerous. Trains come to mind, trolleys. Boston, Massachusetts, I think, has some of those, whatever you call them, I forget, trams, I think. So that's excluded, but that's not in Kentucky. I don't think we really have, other than trains, we don't have any vehicles that travel exclusively upon rails. Vehicles propelled by electric power, maybe this is what I was referring to actually, obtained from overhead wires while being operated within any municipality or where the vehicles do not travel more than 5 miles beyond the city limits of any municipality. We don't even have that in Kentucky. So I guess they were kind of thinking about the future if we ever get that. And number 8, naturally, the most common and anticipated one, which as I was reading the statute for the first time, I thought this would be number 1, but I was wrong. Vehicles propelled by muscular power. So bicycles, non-motorized scooters, pretty much skateboards, anything that doesn't have a motor, an electric motor, a motor powered by electricity or fuel, does not fall within the definition of motor vehicle, or at least vehicle. Excuse me, except motor vehicle. So this is non-motor vehicle. So KRS 189.520 is the operative statute for non-motorized DUIs when it comes to those types of offenses. If they fall within one of the definitions that I just mentioned, not including those 8. No person under the influence of intoxicating beverages or any substance which may impair one's driving ability shall operate a vehicle that is not a motor vehicle anywhere in this state. So that's the offense. You may not operate, no person shall operate non-motor vehicle, essentially, while under the influence of alcohol or drugs. And that is in Chapter 189, which is the sister chapter to 189A, which is the motorized DUI statute. And as I said, also talks about a lot of moving violations. 189A is reserved specifically for DUIs. Now, the penalty for operating a scooter, a skateboard, a bicycle under the influence, the penalty for that is found also in 189. It institutes, and this is interesting, the maximum penalty for that offense is $20 to $100 per violation. That's it. $20 to $100. So the maximum you can get fined in Jefferson County, for instance, would be $100 plus court costs for a total of $234. There is no type of aggravating circumstance that we have in the motorized DUI statute. Having a kid under 12 in the car, blowing above a 1.5, speeding over 30 miles per hour over the speed limit, going the wrong way, and so on, don't exist for purposes of a non-motorized DUI statute. Also, there's no enhanceability. You can, in theory, pick up 5 or 6 of them, and each time it's a $100 fine, $100 fine, $100 fine, $100 fine. But the court can recommend that a person attend an alcohol treatment program, which they probably would. I don't see a reason why not. And if you don't complete it, you lose your license for 6 months. That's the catch, I suppose. So still, I'm not encouraging anybody to do it. I'm just pointing out the fact that the law, at least in Kentucky, I know we're very lenient when it comes to DUIs, and it is changing July 1st. But I don't recommend anybody do this. I'm just here to share the law with you. So I found that fascinating when I first read that. Now let's talk about some other possibilities. And I'm going from recent stories here of how you can get a non-motorized DUI in Kentucky. There was this is from September 20th, 2012. A man gets arrested, gets a DUI for riding a horse in Kentucky. Of course, leave it up to Kentucky, the horse state. We have the Derby, so of course, naturally, someone is going to be eventually getting loaded and getting up on a horse. Now, my first instinct is to say the horse has a mind of its own, but then again, when you really get down to it, the rider does have control over the horse like you would on a bicycle. So the argument of, well, the horse wasn't drunk, therefore this can't be a DUI doesn't really work. Since, again, you do have the physical operation the physical guiding of the horse by the operator who is under the influence. But because a horse is itself a muscular machine, if you really want to define it that way, then you are going to be charged with a non-motorized DUI in Kentucky. Also, we had one. This was a really, really bad case. I actually tried looking it up, but I don't know. I couldn't find it in the system for some reason. This is from this past summer, 6 months ago, June 12, 2019. A man driving horse and buggy charged with a DUI with multiple felonies after a wreck. So this is how they got around this $100 fine bull crap in the Commonwealth Attorney's office or the county attorney's office. And then if it was passed on to the Commonwealth. A man driving a horse and buggy, this was an Amish fella, Mr. Yoder, in Smiths Grove, Kentucky, drove a horse-drawn buggy Tuesday night, accused of sideswiping a car while his wife and 7 children were inside the buggy, and now he faces 10 felony charges. And those 10 felony charges are wanton endangerment first degree for wantonly endangering his 7 children, himself, his wife, and the person in the other vehicle. So he's got a non-motorized DUI charge carrying up to a $100 fine maximum, and 10 charges carrying 1 to 5 years in prison each. And they can run consecutive, concurrent, whatever the court and the prosecution and the defense agreed to. Now, again, I don't know how that case resolved. This was 6 months ago. It might still be pending, but I couldn't find it for some reason. 4 Michigan men, this is from a month ago, December 30th, right around New Year's. 4 Michigan men were arrested for driving a horse and buggy while drunk. Not bad, dude. 4 Michigan men arrested. They caught them around 4 p.m. They were tossing beer cans out of their ride. I mean, basically just having a jolly old good time, I suppose. They're all underage, 19, 19, 20, and 20. I don't know if they were charged with operating a motor vehicle under the influence. Operating a non-motor vehicle under the influence. But they were definitely charged with felony obstruction of justice and disorderly conduct, according to the article. And each had a $3,500 bond to get released. And they were, oh, there we go. They were also issued civil infractions for being minors in possession of alcohol. So close enough, I guess. September 27th, 2018. I found this interesting. Los Angeles secures its first motorized scooter DUI conviction. So you've seen those Lime and who's the other one that has them? Uber, I forget. They have their motorized scooters on the side of the road, on the side of the sidewalk, excuse me. So they he was placed on a 36-month probation, fined $550, and required to complete a 3-month DUI alcohol program, and was ordered to pay restitution to a 64-year-old pedestrian victim. So I guess he hit somebody. Excuse me. So that was not a plug-in, by the way. I'm just thirsty. I'm not sponsored. A motorboat. Now, this one I just kind of thought of last minute. And yes, I'm sorry, Tasman. You can take it to trial. And T.E. Shipley, which county, I'm not sure which you're referring to, but in Kentucky, you can probably find all these cases. I can send them to you. I'll probably maybe include them in the links if I don't forget. But the first 2 were Kentucky. The second one was Smiths Grove. I don't know which county it is. The first one, I don't think it even lists the county. The third one is Michigan, and the fourth one is LA. But a BUI, boating under the influence, is a separate charge. It also, that one does have enhanceability penalties. It is enhanceable. Each one, it gets progressively worse. They're still not as bad as a motorized vehicle. They do have their own field sobriety tests that are exclusive to boating under the influence, which to me makes no sense. Either you're under the influence or you're not. Either you're going to have a standard or you're not. But it is what it is. I almost never get those because, again, on a first offense BUI, boating under the influence, I think it's a $200 fine. I think I made a video on that, or I mentioned in one of my videos. It's like a $200 fine and a 3-month or 6-month license suspension. I don't recall. But another fun one. Oh no, not yet. This is a different one. This one, Florida man gets a DUI on a lawnmower. He crashes the lawnmower and accuses the cops of poisoning him. Florida man. Leave it up to them, I guess. Suspected of driving his lawnmower drunk, crashed right into an officer's car. Okay. He's 68. This is in Haines City, Florida, Saturday, May 6th, right after my birthday. So that's kind of interesting. He had extremely bloodshot, watery eyes, in his demeanor that ranged from laughing to aggressive. So they arrested and charged him, and there's a photo of the lawnmower involved in the accident. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar. If any of you all are familiar with Steve, the DUI lawnmower guy, no relation to the DUI guy. He has videos on his YouTube channel. And I have this, again, he didn't ask me to plug this in. It's just, I found this like a good spot to kind of give him a free plug-in. Steve Jessup is his name. He runs videos. I think it's called like Beer, Women, and Weed or something like that. He's got 180,000 subscribers. So good for him. That's incredible. He's got a couple of videos of him on scissor lift. If you all haven't seen that, the scissor lift video is hysterical. Again, these are all staged. These are not real as far as I know. Then the one of him riding a lawnmower. Again, I would argue all of those are motorized vehicles if I was a prosecution, even though there's no gasoline involved on some of them. Like the scissor lift, I think is battery powered. Lawnmower could be either or, usually gasoline. Those are motorized vehicles, but who knows? I would argue as the prosecution, these are motorized vehicles to the judge. As a defense, of course, I would take the opposite position. But especially given the lenient definitions that we have here in Kentucky. So he's fun. He's just fun to watch. If you have some free time, watch his videos. His responses are just hysterical. All right, so let's dive into some questions that I may have missed. Hello. Have you ever? Okay. Can you take it to trial? Can you take a case to trial? Absolutely. I mean, operating a non-motor vehicle. You can see how used I am to saying operating a motor vehicle, since that's pretty much all we do. Operating a non-motor vehicle under the influence. Yes, of course, like any case, you have a right to be tried by a jury of your own peers here in Kentucky. If it carries a $250 fine or more. Oh, wait a second. That's you just caught it, Tasman. You may not be able to try that case to a jury. Because I believe the threshold in Kentucky, in order to try a case to a jury of 6, which again is one of the most lenient in the country, you need a $250 fine minimum, which is every single violation that we have, except for a couple, and non-motor vehicle DUI is one of them. So I think you just caught it. I didn't even realize this, Tasman. Can you take it to trial? Yes, but only to a judge. You cannot take it to a jury by law. Again, I would have to research this, but that's interesting. You just said that. It caught me off guard. I didn't even realize. Because again, I don't get these cases because to hire an attorney is way more than $100. So that's why I never get these cases. They just plead them out. They bite the bullet. Kentucky doesn't reserve the right to a jury trial in all manners in its constitution. No, you have to ask for a jury trial in all cases if you are allowed to have a jury trial in the case, and the majority of them you are. Again, it's amount in controversy. In civil cases, I think, again, also has to be like over some number. I don't recall, but in criminal cases, if there's a $250 fine or more, I mean, some states are even more brutal. Some states are, if it's not 6 months in jail or more, no right to a jury trial. So a lot of these DUI offenses, they specifically cap at like 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 1 month, like Kentucky is 30 days on a first. And then you lose your right in those states to a jury trial, but not in Kentucky. As long as there's $250 minimum that you would have to shell out of pocket, you get a right to 6 men and women to decide your fate. Gregory Hatton, one is never required to take a field sobriety test in Kentucky. Again, I addressed this in one of my other videos. Feel free to peruse that at your leisure. Florida reserves the right, perhaps, to trial by jury in all matters. My opinion on jury nullification is in another video. GWAG, feel free to go to my videos, open up the playlists, and one of my live streams addresses jury nullification. Would you mind sharing a little personal information, college, family, just to understand a bit more? Maybe in some other video. This is not the platform. I found Texas. If you're intoxicated, asks Ray Diaz, and they want to arrest you, do you say no? And would your license get suspended again? I just answered that. Let's see. If you are drunk and get pulled over, yeah, I just answered that, Ray Diaz. I have a lot of these videos already talking about these topics and issues in some of my other videos. But do you all have any other specific questions about non-motor vehicle DUIs? And by the way, don't forget to hit that like button, comment below, and subscribe and hit the bell on my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. I'm going to try and make these more regular. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep them going, but I'll keep going as long as I can. It just reminded me. I think Jennifer was here. There. Oh, there she is. I knew it. I knew it was coming. Don't forget. Oh, that's right. She tuned in before we started and asked this question in one of the in the chat. So Delegate Hurst, there was a DUI stop. This blows my mind. Mr. Hurst gets pulled over after he is speeding and weaving, I believe, down the freeway. According to the evidence, he's 30 minutes away from wherever he was coming from. He said he's coming from point A and he's headed towards point B. Where he is found, he is exactly 30 minutes from point A, where he was coming from. He gets pulled over. The officer administers 3 field sobriety tests: the follow my finger, horizontal gaze, nystagmus test, the walk and turn, and the one-leg stand. I watched the video very briefly. I didn't go into too much detail, but I clearly could see 2 clues on the walk and turn. Mr. Hurst failed to keep the starting position. That was clue number 1. And he stepped off the line. That was clue number 2. There may have been more. I don't care. That's 2 right there. According to the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration manual, that's a fail. So, okay, we already got 1 failed test and 2, who knows, passed or failed. The one-leg stand, I will give it to him. He really did very, very well. I will say that. But then he blows into the breathalyzer, the portable, 0.085. 0.08 is the legal limit in Virginia. 0.085 is above that. So what does the officer do? Arrest him, right? Wrong. The officer releases him. Now, he does have a passenger and she blows. So first of all, they make the decision not to arrest. Secondly, the passenger blows and she blows a 0.06 something. So they tell her to get in the driver's seat, tell Mr. Hurst to get in the passenger seat, and they tell them to go to a Walmart, park it, walk it off, and go back to driving in an hour or two or something like that. No arrest. No freaking arrest. It's insane. Now, not only that, I found out that there's a legislative push to modify and remove an amendment that's been in the Virginia Constitution since God knows when, because I know there's no way it was recent, that sitting congressmen and women are prohibited from ever having charges filed against them, or even, I think, arrested, something like that. Insane. In Virginia during the legislative session. Oh, and he, I don't know, I didn't see the admission to taking Adderall, but Adderall is, if he's taking it pursuant to prescription, it wouldn't be admissible anyway. But oh my God. I mean, in Kentucky, if I was the officer, well, I would probably maybe still let him go under certain circumstances. I don't know. I don't know what that officer was thinking, because the officer actually cites, in Kentucky, the officer would arrest. I take it back. It's 100% arrest. The officer in Virginia actually cites in his report or to an interview or something, he says that they are taught in the academy, during the class, that during the legislative session, congressmen and women cannot be arrested. They're taught that at the academy, and I guess he knew Mr. Hurst, so he's like, well, he was looking for ways not to arrest him. Mind-blowing. I mean, this is pure political privilege, in my humble opinion. Now, I did give that same quote to God, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. He wrote an article about it. I think it should be coming out tomorrow, so y'all can read that in the Virginia newspapers. So, that's my 2 cents on that, Jennifer. Great question, by the way. This is a new development. The stop without the arrest was on Thursday, I believe, the 30th. So this is very, very fresh news, and it will be developing, I'm sure. Mr. Gallagher asked, did you hear about the new law in Jersey making it more advantageous not to blow? I have not, but excuse me, I'm looking forward to reading about that. Thank you again. Like, comment, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell notification so you get the notification when I post new videos or go live. Some of these I've already answered in other videos. Thank you, Terry Golson, for the $2 donation, man. Rock and roll. Thank you. Let's see. Hello from Canada. Hello, hello. So many videos of cops. Yes. Recently got detained, parked, took me in, got a warrant. You need to get a lawyer, Oscar Monteja, DJ Oscar Monteja. Get a lawyer for that case. Illinois has the same thing. You can't get a speeding ticket no matter what the speed. Okay, well, that's crazy, Stephen. If in Illinois, he's saying that if you're in a legislative session, you can't get a speeding ticket if you're a politician. That's part of that legislative session. Not arrest. Another one, Gwag, another local politician so intoxicated was going down the interstate the wrong way, not arrested. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions before we hop off here? We're almost at the 40-minute mark. I think this is probably a good place to stop. I will be uploading, like I said, videos from the trial on January 10th. Our next live stream is going to be same time next Saturday, a week from today, exactly the same time, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we'll be covering a very interesting topic, one that I will admit I do not have extensive experience with yet, but I'm getting there. It is the cross-examination of the state's expert. I think it's a fascinating topic. We can also talk about direct examining your own expert. It's one of the most difficult things that I think anybody could ever do in law. First of all, getting that expert admitted to get him in on the witness stand is a hurdle in and of itself. You get into Daubert issues, or if you're a Fry state, into Fry issues. So that's going to be the topic of conversation for next week. Scanning for questions one last time. Lydia Sinclair asked, I saw a video of a lawyer on his way to court. He told the cop to mail the ticket and took off. No, that's called fleeing and evading a police officer. That's a felony. Nobody can do that. Retroactively changing the DUI law. That's a topic for another video, Stephen. But yes, the legislature can do that, unfortunately, and they grandfather everyone in. All right. So seeing no other questions, I thank you all for coming to my revival of the live stream. I know there's a ring right back there. I just that's my ring light. Unfortunately, I'll reposition it for next time I couldn't access the video. So we will definitely tweak this as we go along. And now we got a great connection. We got a great microphone. We got a great office, a great space to stream. I even have a green screen that I purchased. I don't know if I'm going to be able to use it on live streams. I'm not that technologically advanced. Yes, my Halo. Yes, I have a Halo. By the way, speaking of Halos, if you ever noticed when people in government, when they take the professional photos, they always take it where their state's logo is directly, the circular one is directly right behind them. Notice where it's positioned. It's always positioned in such a way where it comes off like this, as if they're holy men and women and people in government. I mean, it is crazy stuff you never think about. Anyway, don't forget to like the video, comment below, subscribe to my channel, hit that bell to get notifications when I go live. So please tune in if you're interested. If not, I'll see you at some other video. I'm very excited to post this January 10th trial. It was one of the most interesting trials I have ever done in my career. And that trial was 3 weeks ago, yesterday. So thank you all once again. Have a great rest of your weekend. And I will see you all Saturday, February 8th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern to talk about states experts. Take care, everybody. Stay safe and out of trouble.